In the world of Shadow Wars, some legends are best left alone. These mercenaries thought they cornered a defenseless girl for an easy payday. They were dead wrong. They didn't just capture a victim, they just invited the world's deadliest ex-mercenary to a massacre. The story kicks off with a soldier named John Wood, and right away, we see him in a nightmare scenario. He's been taken captive by the brutal Commander Stone. John isn't just any soldier, he's a man with a conscience who defied a direct order to save innocent villagers. Now, he's paying the ultimate price. To break him, Commander Stone does the unthinkable. He captures John's wife, Amelia. Stone is desperate for the location of the survivors, but John stays silent, insisting he has no idea where they vanished to. Stone doesn't care about the truth, he only cares about power. In a heart-pounding and devastating moment, he executes Amelia right in front of John's eyes. Suddenly, John bolts awake, gasping for air. It's been 3 long years since that tragic day, but the pain of losing his wife is still a jagged scar on his heart. After the execution, John managed to vanish into the deep, unforgiving wilderness, choosing to live like a ghost in the jungle. We then get a look at the dark history that started it all. Back when John was on active duty, he was sent on a scorched earth mission. The government claimed a deadly virus was spreading through a village, but there was zero proof. John couldn't stand by and watch a massacre, so he went rogue, secretly guiding the villagers to safety under the cover of darkness. But Commander Stone wasn't fooled. He branded John a terrorist, hunting him down with a vengeance that eventually cost Amelia her life. Back in the present, John is sitting by his campfire, lost in his memories, when the silence of the woods is shattered. He hears a strange rustle in the bushes and grabs his axe, ready for a life-or-death confrontation. Instead of a mercenary, a girl stumbles out of the shadows. She's badly injured, covered in blood, and looking for a miracle. Before she can explain, she collapses right there on the forest floor. John rushes to her side, picks her up, and carries her back to his cabin, having no idea that this one act of kindness is about to bring his past screaming back to his doorstep. The next morning, when the girl finally opens her eyes, she is absolutely terrified to see a stranger like John standing over her. This is where we meet Maria, and we quickly learn she isn't just a random survivor. Maria is the most valuable person on the planet because she is the only human known to have survived the deadly pandemic. Her blood contains the golden ticket, the ultimate cure that can kill the virus for good. Maria is shaking with fear, but John steps in with a calm voice, assuring her that he's not there to hurt her. However, there's a massive problem. John notices the wound on her body is becoming severely infected. He realizes that if he doesn't remove the bullet immediately, the infection will turn fatal. As John prepares for the makeshift surgery, the pain becomes too much for Maria to handle, and she passes out once again. John doesn't lose his nerve. He carefully extracts the object from her body, but as it comes out, he realizes it wasn't a bullet at all. It was a high-tech tracking device. This is how the government has been hunting her like prey. When Maria finally wakes up a few hours later, she spills the whole truth. She explains that because her blood holds the cure, the government is desperate to weaponize it. If they capture her, they won't just stop the virus, they'll control it, turning human life into a toy for their own twisted agenda. After hearing her story, John knows exactly what he has to do. He sees himself in her struggle and decides he will protect Maria at any cost. But the clock is already ticking. The very next day, 3 heavily armed soldiers follow the signal to John's doorstep. They corner him and demand to know the location of the injured girl. John stays cool, lying straight to their faces and claiming he hasn't seen a soul. The soldiers don't buy it and move in to raid his house. That's when the one-man army kicks into gear. John ambushes them from behind, taking out 2 of the soldiers with lethal precision. But when the 3rd soldier breaks into the cabin, it's Maria who pulls the trigger, saving herself and proving she's a fighter. They survived this round, but John knows this was just the beginning. A massive wave of soldiers is coming, and there's nowhere left to run. Maria looks John in the eye and tells him she's ready to fight by his side. John realizes he finally has a partner he can trust, and together, they begin prepping for the ultimate showdown. Back at the base, when the 3 missing soldiers fail to check in, their commanding officer, Granite, immediately smells a rat. She doesn't hesitate and deploys a massive search party into the deep jungle to track down her missing team. Sensing the walls closing in, Maria is gripped by fear and begs John to abandon the cabin so they can disappear further into the wilderness. But John Wood doesn't run. He's tired of being the prey. He tells Maria that the only way to end this is to stand their ground and take the fight to them. As they wait for the storm to hit, John opens up about his tragic past and the loss of his wife. Moved by his story, Maria encourages him to stay strong, and together, they form an unbreakable bond. As the sun rises, they turn the cabin into a total death trap, setting up lethal barricades and prepping for a siege. John even puts a weapon in Maria's hands, teaching her exactly how to aim for the kill. It isn't long before a fresh wave of soldiers swarms the area. In the chaos, they manage to get their hands on Maria, but they underestimated the man they were dealing with. John unleashes a hail of bullets, wiping out every single attacker with cold, calculated precision and ripping Maria back from their clutches. Every soldier on the ground is dead, but the victory is short-lived. John knows the real threat is still coming. Commander Stone and Officer Granite are bringing the full weight of the army. Instead of panicking, John reveals his hidden stash, a massive arsenal of heavy weaponry he's been stockpiling for this exact moment. Seeing the firepower, Maria finds her courage, and the two of them start tactical preparations for the final war. The next day, they set a genius trap. Maria sits by the river, acting as the perfect bait to lure Stone's army into the open. Like clockwork, the soldiers arrive and seize her, thinking they've finally won. A commander radios Stone to confirm that the high-value target is in custody. Stone is ecstatic, ordering his men to move her out immediately because she's worth a fortune to the government alive. But just as they think they've secured the prize, John explodes onto the scene. He tears through the squad, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. However, Commander Stone is a seasoned tactician, and he's already got a brutal backup team moving in to surround them. But the battle is far from over. John and Maria unleash total chaos, wiping out the backup squad with ruthless efficiency. When word reaches Commander Stone that his elite soldiers are being slaughtered, he realizes he's dealing with a ghost from his past who refuses to die. He orders Officer Granite to deploy every remaining man to John's cabin. While searching the perimeter, the soldiers stumble upon a massive discovery: a hidden underground tunnel once used for transporting gas. The tactical advantage shifts instantly. This tunnel leads directly toward the army's stronghold, and Stone sees it as the perfect mousetrap. He stations a heavy blockade at the exit, certain that he's finally cornered his prey. But John and Maria aren't walking into a trap, they are the trap. As they emerge from the darkness of the tunnel, they launch a high-octane assault, catching the soldiers off guard and leaving the exit painted red. With her forces dwindling, Granite realizes that standard tactics won't work. She decides to lead the final charge herself, with one objective: capture Maria alive and execute John Wood on sight. Stone stays back to coordinate, but Granite's team finally manages to track them down and seize Maria in a frantic struggle. They begin dragging her through the tunnel back toward their base, thinking the mission is finally over. Meanwhile, John finds himself locked in a brutal hand-to-hand fight with a massive, powerhouse soldier. After a flurry of heavy blows, John is overpowered and knocked unconscious. It looks like the end for our hero, but John's sheer will is unbreakable. He regains consciousness and, instead of following them through the tunnel, he takes a secret shortcut through the dense jungle that only he knows. He beats the clock and intercepts the squad moving Maria. However, a giant of a soldier stands in his way, a true mountain of a man. It's a collision of titans as John is pushed to his absolute limit, but he refuses to stay down. He lands a series of devastating strikes, eventually killing the brute and freeing Maria once again. But Granite was expecting this. She's already signaled the rest of her battalion, and a wall of soldiers moves in, weapons hot, with orders to eliminate John Wood once and for all. The air is thick with tension as a massive firefight erupts. Despite being completely outnumbered, John and Maria stand their ground, fighting with everything they've got. But as more reinforcements swarm the area, John realizes they can't win this war together. He orders Maria to hide in a secret chamber deep within the tunnel, deciding right then and there to take on the entire army alone. Maria refuses to leave him, but John hammers home the truth: her life is the only hope humanity has against the virus. Protecting her blood is the only mission that matters. With Maria safe in the shadows, John goes into full one-man army mode, tearing through the forces as he pushes toward the end of the tunnel. When he finally bursts out into the light, he finds himself staring down the barrels of Commander Stone's elite squad. Stone sneers at him, demanding to know where the girl is. John looks him dead in the eye and lies, claiming he killed Maria himself to keep her out of their hands. Granite doesn't buy it for a second. She knows John just risked everything to save her and would never pull that trigger. Commander Stone, fueled by years of hatred, decides it's time for a repeat performance. He wants to break John just like he did 3 years ago, using brutal, high-impact torture to force the truth out of him. Stone's mercenaries descend on John, beating him within an inch of his life. Just as it seems like John is about to snap, he finally speaks up, appearing to surrender. He tells Stone he'll lead them to Maria, but he has one condition. He challenges the commander to a one-on-one, life-or-death confrontation. Stone, blinded by his own ego and a desire to prove his dominance, takes the bait and agrees to the match. The finale kicks off with a brutal, high-stakes showdown. It's a fierce, hand-to-hand battle, and it doesn't take long for Commander Stone to realize that John Wood is an absolute beast. Sensing he's about to lose, Stone plays dirty. He pulls his sidearm and presses the barrel right against John's forehead. But John doesn't even blink. He stares death in the face and keeps moving forward with zero fear. In a lightning-fast blur of motion, John disarms the commander and executes him right in front of his own men. It's a massive turning point, but the reaction isn't what you'd expect. Instead of being devastated, Officer Granite is actually thrilled. With Stone out of the picture, she is now the one holding all the cards and all the power. Suddenly, the tension hits a breaking point as Maria emerges from the tunnel, clutching a bomb in each hand. She delivers a chilling ultimatum. If anyone touches John, she'll blow everyone to Kingdom Come. To save John's life, Maria makes the ultimate sacrifice. She offers to surrender herself to Granite in exchange for his safety. Granite, desperate to secure the cure in Maria's blood, jumps at the deal immediately. In a heartbreaking moment, Granite's soldiers seize Maria and begin to march her away. John is forced to watch from a distance, battered and weaponless, knowing he can't take on an entire battalion with his bare hands. As Maria disappears into the hands of the enemy, John's eyes burn with a new fire. He knows the war isn't over, he just needs a new plan to get her back. And that is where the pulse-pounding story of Last Man Down leaves us. Will John find a way to rescue the only hope for humanity? If you enjoyed this high-octane breakdown, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Cinemaned for more epic movie recaps. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.